Ah,
Perfect. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Beauty and the Beast podcast with your co-host, Julian Marquez, your host, Miss Kendra Lust. And let's be honest, Kendra, we need to figure out this profile pic for our podcast. I mean, our contestants aren't really sending too much things in. What's going on?
I don't know. I think everyone's lazy in this pandemic. I don't know what it is. However, I did get a few people send some things in, and a couple people are like in progress. So I think maybe we need to give them some ideas about specifically what we're looking for, or I don't know. We need to up the ante. Like whoever puts in a submission. God, I can't talk today. Whoever submits something and we like it and we choose their picture, whatever their art, then, something cool, like more than just like a shout out. So,
I mean, we're going to I'll give them some of my apparel. I mean, you could throw in some of your apparel. We'll give a like, a follow, a shout out. I mean,
yeah,
there's a lot that we could do from it. And I mean, Beauty and the Beast, you can literally make you look like Belle and make me look like the Beast, have our face in some like animated podcast picture of a illustration on it. I don't know. There's all these people with these amazing, artistic, sides. So I don't ever want to tell someone what to do. I want them to kind of be creative, especially being,
yeah, that's true. An artist,
yeah.
you kind of want to let them be free. So,
So again, we'll figure that out. But you know what? I'm going to be honest with you right now.
mm,
I have no clue what's going on, and I see this all over Twitter, and we got to figure this out right now. What is going on with this James Rodriguez tweets and going back and forth? Like I just saw it was Sun Sports that tweeted this like a few days ago, saying that he has a lust for love. What's going on here?
well, I like James as a person and an athlete. I think he's just a very kind human being. I have truly never met him. So yeah, I'm going to squash the rumors. However, we are friends through WhatsApp. So it's just, platonic and just how are you? And, love of sports and just acquaintances. So
Everybody just like when you put out a tweet say wishing him a happy birthday, hope it was a good one. People took it as like,
oh my God, I'm his birthday lady or whatever. I'm gonna pop out of a cake for him. Well, that's not gonna happen. However, that would be kind of fun though. I've never done something like that. Have you ever done anything kind of wild like that?
no, not yet, but I'm not opposed to it.
That's right.
I'm technically not married, but if it was with a female, obviously, but not a male, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm not married. I know you're married, but I mean, and I know your husband would definitely like it take a lot for you to go do something with some random person, even if it's an athlete. You're not just going to sleep with every single one of them. And like your
Right.
husband's dope as hell.
Yes.
But I don't get what just happened there and like how everyone just took this tweet and kind of like made up their own like thoughts processes to this. Like, well, I don't get it.
I know. I think people just, they want something to talk about. So, that gives them a little, I don't know, we're all bored in quarantine. Well, I don't know that I'm that bored. I mean, I'm keeping myself busy, but I think, it's exciting. In Mexico, or I think generally I have a pretty good Latin fan base. So if they can tie the two together, I guess they like me, they love James, and who knows, maybe they thought we'd make pretty babies. I mean, I don't know. Or they'd be hopeful.
Just trying to get the headlines. That's all that sounds like. You know what sucks? I mean, last night, I was talking about like Yas Island was this week, and I mean this week we had two cards happen this past week on Yas Island, and like last night I put out a tweet on Joe Benavidez. He fought Davidson Figueiredo for the 125-pound flyweight belt, and he ended up losing. And I was just putting out my feelings, right? And I was just like, man, I feel like the supervillain beat the superhero Like, I'm super bummed. I love Joe, Joe Benavidez. I love him. He's a great person. He's an awesome character. And like everyone that around it loves him. But I put out that tweet just saying like, man, that's what I feel like. I feel like Superman just got beat up by Doomsday and he died. You know what I mean? Like that feeling that you got as a comic book nerd, and most of my comic book nerds would feel this, they would have that same feeling. Everyone thought I was calling Davidson Figueiredo the supervillain, but I was not. It was just my metaphor of saying like how I feel right now, because Joe's a hero to me, man. This guy's been around forever. He's constantly always grinding, whether it's been that he went for the belt once, fell off, came back, he fought for the belt again, fell off, came back, fought for the belt again, fell off, came back, fought for the belt. Like, you don't hear those type of stories, and that just shows and proves that he doesn't quit. There's no quit in him, and it helped mold my career as many other careers, but it was rough. But that's what I mean by like people took that tweet and took it in their own way, just kind of like yours and the James Rodriguez tweet.
Yes. They like to twist things, or, make it maybe a little bit more exciting for news, I don't know, and with not a ton going on right now. So they're going to do it, but I think they always do it. There's always somebody who takes it out of context or wants it to be something a little bit more than what it is, create that friction and that, I don't know, not animosity, but yeah. So
fake headlines to make more pop, to make more interesting, to get more views. And
yes, it's like the news. If it bleeds, it leads, right? It's true. All terrible, however, people tune in because unfortunately we love to see, I don't want to say we love to see sad things. I like triumph. I like, seeing the underdog overcome and all that stuff, but we also like gruesome and gory, and unfortunately that's just kind of our,
it's almost like we're addicted to drama, even though we graduated high school with a degree in drama. But we like that. We like that, like real husbands of Hollywood or real Desperate Housewives like lifestyle. And we always have to be a part of something and knowing what's the dirt on this person. It's like,
yes, because we all have skeletons, right? Every one of us. I don't care who you are or how holy, these politicians, holy rollers, cut that out. Like we all have dirt. We all have skeletons. It's normal. And some of us just don't give a shit to like air them out, So it is what it is. Speaking of the fight, I had a question from one of our followers or subscribers here, and let me pull him up. I wrote these questions down because I was like, okay, submit questions and we'll talk about some things. So, oh God, I should have planned it out a little bit better. But essentially, this gentleman was saying, how many times, does a fighter get an opportunity to fight for the belt or a title shot, Okay, and now I can't find it. Son of a biscuit. It's in here. Here it is. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Is it here it is?
Wait, here it is. Should there be, and this is from, and I don't know how to pronounce his name, if it's Ducky or Dookie, Duhhky. I don't think it's Dookie, but he said,
Dookie.
Should there be a limit on how many times a guy can challenge for a title in one division? And he gave the example of Joe Benavidez and, and like Max Holloway. So what are your thoughts on that? How do you feel?
Well, this is the thing. If you look at like Joe Benavidez, he challenged for the title, but he rightfully earned his place to go challenge for each time of those titles. Now, what had happened on the last bout, and this most recent bout that he did, when the first time he fought Figueiredo missed weight.
Okay.
And then he ended up doing that illegal headbutt. So they're like, hey, let's run this back. So they ran it back, and that was his fourth time. But before he had that, he was on he fought 10 different people from one belt to the next, and he fought, prior to that, he ended up fighting Mighty Mouse twice. And it's just like he kept fighting his way back to that. So it's unstoppable by how many times you can challenge for the belt, as long as you constantly make it up there. And a lot of these guys are challenging for it because they're fighting the right people. They're winning, then going. When you beat the number one contender, if the number one contender comes and challenges you and you beat the number one contender, then you're still back at it. If you just challenge for the belt and then someone else is trying to come in and then you beat that person, you now took their place of where they're at. And then it just keeps going. If you have to fight 2 or 3 fights or 2 or 3 times, then it's okay. But look, it's about, it's about how many times you can keep getting there. Like, and you can't give up. As you see, Joe never gave up, and he's got it for 4 times. Who else has challenged for the belt? Chael Sonnen challenged for the belt multiple times and didn't ever get it. And he challenged it in 2 different weight classes. If we're talking about that, it's just Max Holloway, the same thing. He's held the belt for so long, and then 2 times he's gotten, in my point of view, he's gotten it taken from him, even though he won. And at that point, what do? You just let the division keep going and then he has to fight somebody else and come back? Or does he fight it for the 3rd time? I don't necessarily know, but what I do know is that as long as you're winning and beating the right people, you can challenge as many times as you can.
And I would agree with that because, I'm thinking of trying to like compare it to other sports, same with like NBA, NFL. If teams are winning and they're doing what they need to do to get into position to, play in the playoffs and to play for a championship, then they deserve to be there. So I don't think that there should be a limit. I think if you've earned it and, you've done what you had to do, then you fight for it. So that's what we think. Dookie Ducky, I'm not sure. Either way. So that was just one of the questions. So I figured I would knock one of those out.
Knocked one of them out right in the middle of it. Yeah, the fights on Yas Island were actually really good. We closed up the week. There was a lot of great battles. Tim Elliott was on a 3-fight losing streak, came back, ended up winning. Who else was the main event? The Calvin Kattar versus Dan Ige fight was just amazing. It showed a lot of grit and a lot of wit. And then, Joe Benavidez, that was just an amazing fight, him and Davidson Figueiredo. Regardless of the outcome, it was just, now we finally have a flyweight champion. It's amazing. But, we talk about UFC all the time, and I kind of want to switch it up on our fans. I want to switch it up, and I want to highlight somebody this week, and it's actually one of your friends. You actually brought this up. Let's talk a little bit about that boxing match with your girlfriend, Mikaela.
Yeah, she is incredible. It was the first time that a female boxing championship was the main event on ESPN. So not championship, but bout. So it was so exciting. It's so weird how we met too. It was last year. We were all kind of hanging out. I don't know exactly what pool party we were at. It was just whatever. It was a Vegas day club. Everyone's hanging out. We were invited over to, I don't know, I think we all had like some cabanas, pools, whatever. Make a long story short, there was Henry Cejudo. He was hanging out. That's at the time when his arm was broken, or he was in a sling, but he's still having fun, right? Yeah. So I had the opportunity to meet him, and he was so kind and so cool. Just really nice guy, very cool guy. So chatted with him a little bit, and then got into the pool with some ladies, and I see this female, and it was Mikaela, and we just start talking and like whatever, and she said that she boxes, and I told her that I had a little someone in my life, big tree there, who boxed and was real passionate about martial arts and stuff. And it was so funny. So she said, oh my gosh, I follow that little girl, like that is that or whatever. So we ended up knowing the same little person, and then we just kind of like chatted it up a little bit. We followed each other on Instagram. The next night we went out to club, and it was just crazy, and just started talking, and I just started reading up on her a little bit more, and we've been talking and been kind of friends since. So I I'm so impressed with her. And then now, you know, learning more about her story and how she, her coach, and it's just so interesting. So I thought that was like a huge deal for women's boxing. And I love that. It gives me chills. So, which I
Absolutely.
like, then these things will actually like wake up. You can't see them. Oh, there they
This
are.
taco's off the menu.
Yeah, this taco's off.
That
But
is
yeah,
hilarious.
isn't it awesome? Yeah. I mean, is it really off the menu though? Like, is it really? Just
I mean, without a doubt, there's definitely. But the real question is that like ground beef? Or are we talking ground turkey? Should I
what?
say chicken? What kind of taco are
Oh
we talking
no,
about?
no, no. This is prime. Okay, this is like, I don't know what the best kind of taco meat is, but that's what I'm. Okay, that's what's going on
That's
here.
your, you said you
Okay.
have a great Hispanic following, so I'm assuming it has to be some sort of, al pastor or something
El
very
pastor.
al
That's so
pastor,
funny.
something delicious and amazing.
Oh, it is, but yeah. So I just thought I'd, showcase a little
Oh,
bit.
you got this. On Mikaela Mayer, I actually reached out to some friends and I had to look up that video of her fight with Helen Johnson, which she won by unanimous decision, it was impressive. So I reached out to LD Setback as a reporter for the boxing, and he's real
Mm-hmm.
huge. You've heard me talk about him on this podcast, but he has a partner or a friend that he sends to these events, and they watch it live and things like that. So I reached out to my friend Tara Zale, and she kind of like filled me in a little bit on some stats about Mikaela Mayer, which was absolutely impressive. And I mean, I'll read some of the stuff that we talked about. She's 5'9". She's at 132 pounds, which is a lightweight or or featherweight. Her record is 13-0. She has 5 KOs. And the background in her is just insane. She spent her childhood being, a soccer player, doing snowboarding and motocross. And at the age of 17, she walked into a kickboxing gym. It wasn't even a boxing gym. We're talking about a kickboxing gym where she goes in there, throws kicks. And then it was there from that day on. 2016, she was in the Summer Olympics at Rio, but she was eliminated at the quarterfinals, which I
Mm-hmm.
think that's amazing. And the fact is, I don't mean to say that. I think that's amazing. She got eliminated. I think it's amazing. If you look at this girl made it to the Olympics. She started boxing at 17. Obviously, she found it. She found something she's good at, and she started boxing at 17. And at 26, she goes to the Olympics. She gets beat out, but now she's on a tear, 13-0, 5 KOs. This is kind of like reminding me of the Ronda Rousey story. Ronda Rousey was an Olympian, but she didn't win gold. She got bronze, and then all of a sudden she became the face of women's UFC, and she's still the number one. Everybody's going to know her name forever. She's going to be in the history books. And this girl, from what we look at, and you just find her stats and everything, it's absolutely amazing. She was the first woman, female, to ever sign with Everlast. She signed with Top Rank, where she made her professional debut in 2017. And like you talking about her coach, is it AI Mitchell? Like her and her coach, they're relating it to like Rocky and Mickey, or Gus D'Amato and Tyson. Like it's insane. Like this girl has everything going for her. And
She does. Sorry to cut you off,
no,
but yeah,
you're good.
she does. And the fact that her coach, like, he didn't even want to take her on because she was a girl, which was really, it was kind of funny, but she proved, to him that, she was putting in, more work, or as much work as the guys, so I love
It
it. Now,
reminds me, like, by reading all of her stats and looking at her stuff and like hearing her background story and everything that she's done, it reminds me of, like, you remember have you ever seen Captain Marvel, the Marvel movie that came out last year before?
shame on me. No,
Oh, you
I have
haven't seen
not.
it?
No,
So
homework, right?
it came out on International Women's Day, which was like, it was an awesome movie for that day. And it pretty much shows like everyone was counting down on Captain Marvel, or whatever. I can't think of her name at the time, or the movie right now. It's not coming to my head, but she constantly was being like looked down upon because she was a female. Like everybody was pushing her down. They had counted her out. Like she didn't make it here. She didn't make it there, but she just never stopped and gave up and just kept going. And that actually, there's a scene in that movie towards the end when she finally gets her powers where like all of it comes together and you see all the time that she ever fell down, she ever got a bump, she ever got a bruise, she ever got pushed, she ever got whatever it was. Every time you see her now, get up, get up, get up, get up. And that's exactly what I see with Mikaela Mayer. She's like, doesn't matter what task you put in front of her. If she's dedicated, she has her mind right in there. She's unstoppable, man. And it's insane. You know, they're going to hear a lot of stuff coming up with her from what I've seen, but this girl's got it.
Yeah, absolutely. When I first, saw her opponent, I was like, I didn't know much about her. I was like, she just had I guess she was shorter, which is, she has a disadvantage because of that, but she just looks so solid and so muscular. I was like, geez, but it's not. And I think that's what sometimes people, they discredit, or like, even looking at some of the fighters, like when I look at like the Diaz brothers, I don't look at them like, oh yeah, that's a badass. Like, and it's no disrespect, I don't mean it that way, but just like I don't know, the build, like, and Mikaela, she's solid. She looks great. She's toned, but it kind of scared me looking at her build, in comparison to Mikaela. Mikaela's just, a lot taller.
A slender body. Yeah.
Yeah, slender, but
physique is always intimidating to everyone. A lot of people will look at somebody with just a body that's put together like a Greek god or a Greek goddess, and you kind of look at that and you're like, you feel threatened or you feel intimidated by it. But when it comes to the people that are like Mikaela Mayer, the slender, the Nate Diaz, those are the ones that could be the most dangerous.
Absolutely. It's their technique, their power, their style, their training, like just everything with her is on point. And, and she's a woman. Like, I love that, being a woman and, supporting other women and women's sports. I was so excited. I was screaming, during the fight. And, when I know somebody or I'm watching somebody that I know and I like, I'm a little bit more passionate, a little crazy. So,
I mean, I can't wait till my fight August 29th. So that way you can get all geeked out.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts. We're out, I get nervous too, though, because it's like, okay, you just, you want them to do well. So, but she dominated. She's incredible. She's inspiring for women, little girls, the sport of boxing. Everywhere.
What's impressive is, she's 30 years old. She's 30 years old and she started boxing at 17. Most people, it was a kickboxing gym. It wasn't boxing, it was kickboxing. And most of these people that have been boxing, they box from when they're like little kids, like 10 years old, 8 years old, and they come up in the system boxing and they know everybody. She started late and she's being successful. She took a gamble on herself and she legitimately, it's paying off. And we both know what that's like, like obviously you took a gamble on yourself and it changed. Let's talk about that. Like let's talk about how hard it is to gamble on yourself. What were you before this? Cause you weren't always this amazing, actress. You weren't always this amazing person. You weren't always Kendra Lust. What were you doing before this?
In all honesty, though, like I think though I was always. It's so hard because I feel like a part of who I was. It still carries over into this like alter ego, right? Because ultimately, I don't know how to explain it, but prior to this, I was a nurse, so I was working as a nurse, and just like a normal life, and there were some circumstances in my family, and I think we talked about it a little bit before, that financially things, we were doing okay, but it was like extended family. There was a lot of things that happened, and I'd always felt very sexual, and I've never really been like embarrassed about my body. I don't give a shit, right? So I more or less, I started webcamming, started doing that, started making good money, and then decided, actually somebody in my room had said, maybe you should do, porn, or you should do adult film. And I was like, I don't even know how to go about it. Granted, I had a collection, my own collection of DVDs right in the top drawer, to choose from, but I never thought about really kind of doing it myself. But I knew that there was more money in doing it. So I reached out to these companies and I got so many no's, like, yeah, right. Like, you live in Michigan, nobody knows you. You don't have an agent. Like,
What does that feel like? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I've been in those situations,
Yeah.
but how does that feel when you keep hearing that?
Well, for me, it was a little discouraging at first, but I continued to kind of pursue, and I was like, you know what, I'll get a lot of no's before I get a yes. And if I get that yes, then maybe I can really do this, because I have to do something more. I need a quick way to make money to help my family, and hey, I'm going to have some fun doing it. I don't care. So, I didn't realize though how much more there was to it than just kind of, hey, show up, have at it, right? There's a lot more to it. So, so finally, when I did get the yes, like 4 months later, but I did it strategically. Like, I emailed and reached out to the top companies, because I knew that would be more exposure. More exposure means more likes and views, which means, more money, hopefully in the long run, if, I can make it to the top. So once I did it, I was like, there's no turning back. I have to, go big or go home, because I can't take it back. The internet is forever, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, right. So luckily, one of the big companies gave me a shot, and it was scary as hell. But I didn't give up. I don't know. I mean, nobody really says I want to grow up and, do adult film. I get it. But the point of the matter is, just don't give up on something that, you're passionate about, or something that you want to do, because you're going to get a lot of no's before you get a yes. But I think it's like 100 no's before you get one yes. But there will be a yes, and that could be, your make it or break it. So don't give up on yourself. And, I took a gamble. What the hell? I literally had nothing to lose. Little dignity, but hey, I lost that shit a long time ago.
It's kind of crazy, because, like, as being a UFC athlete, like, when I first started this, it was, I started in my 20s. So I'm already graduated high school. I've been watching it since I was a kid. And, I never was the greatest wrestler. I never was the greatest cross country, track and field, but I was decent. I could do it. And, I kept going after it. Never stopped. I kept going after it, whether I didn't, have a victory every week or every month, or sometimes I was always the bottom of the barrel, but I just still kept coming back. And today was something I heard when I was having a conversation with my brother, and it kind of hit me, and I was like, oh, wow, like, I never thought of this. He's like, yeah, man, I stopped playing sports because I wasn't consistent. And I was like, what do you mean consistent? He said, I wasn't consistent. It's like, one day I would be doing amazing. I'd have a great, a great day, and I'd kill it on the basketball court or the baseball field. And then the next 2 days would be tough. And he's like, it's just tough to keep that motivation, keep that grind going. And I was like, you know what? That's what set it apart, is that even though I lost, I always wanted more. I always wanted to get that back, do better every time I go out there. I always envisioned that I would do this. And a lot of people didn't think I would be where I'm at today. I can tell you this, when I got the opportunity, I was an underdog. My friends put a lot of money on me. I was a huge underdog. And the entire Kansas City didn't even find out to that week that I was fighting in the Contender Series.
Wow.
And then when I fought, they all tuned in, and like everyone just came out of nowhere, like, we've been following you and supporting you ever since. Like, nah, like, you have sometimes, but like,
yeah,
a lot of people came out the woodworks, to kind of say that they're there. But the whole time, if it wasn't for like my family members on the support, or just my will and want, we wouldn't have got where I'm at today. And that's it. That's what defines, someone in the adult industry, or someone in the UFC, or someone that's an actress or an NBA player, NFL player, is the fact that they can handle the consistency. You know, they can handle not being consistent. They can handle failing and then keep coming back. And that's how I like interpret this whole thing, and how I see it is that you got to know that not every day is going to be the best. You
Right.
know, not every answer is going to be yes, and not every answer is going to be no.
Right. Absolutely. But that is, and that's, I mean, I don't know your brother, obviously, but, you know, and two, I think like the personal motivation, like if you are a natural, like some people are just internally motivated, you know, and I guess different things motivate different people, but, you know, just, you know,
Different
not giving
strokes
up
for
and
different
persevering.
folks.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We can talk a lot about that one. I'm just thinking of that thing Chuck sent. Jesus.
Which one?
It was terrible when you
The
did
guy?
the thing.
The guy that he sent me when we talked about this, I don't accept blurry visions, and he sent me a text message of a dude. Oh.
Yes. I mean, he had like a whole session where he was just, man, I don't know what he was doing, but he was just laid out, had his t-shirt on, had his stroker. He was all in. Oh my God. I don't know why I just talked about it.
I don't know why. I have no clue. He literally sent that in a text message, and it's not like a blurry image. Like, I trust Chuck. We had this last time. I don't click on blurry images. Yeah. And Chuck sent that to me in a personal message. So when I open it up, I'm at the house. And everyone's around me, but luckily no one's looking at my phone. So when I open up, I just see a guy playing Fortnite or something.
Don't say Fortnite. Don't say it. It's got to be something like kinky or something wild.
No, dude, the dude is not playing. He has to play something. It could be Call of Duty. It could be Fortnite. I don't even know. I didn't need that.
I didn't need it either. I was like, why? And then I think he was like, oh, I don't know what he was doing. He's like, oh yeah, I forgot to show you this yesterday. Like it's something, you know, important. I'm like, are you kidding me? And then I can't stop watching. I have to watch the whole thing, you know, like a train wreck. So yeah, that was pretty brutal.
At all. I just saw the photo, and it was like a link, and it was like, I saw it said Kendra Lust, and like he like tagged us both in it. That was on Twitter.
Yeah, the Twitter is like the XXX baby. Like, you know, you have to just be careful with Twitter sometimes. It's just,
oh my God, you should tell me never send me that stuff. Never. Yeah. There's a reason why I don't check. I don't check the messages that people send on there, because it gets wild. People that message you, like, I just wish people would know this. It doesn't matter if you're an athlete. It doesn't matter if you're a porn star. It doesn't matter if we don't always want to hook up with you. We don't even want to.
Yes. I know. And I don't know how we get on this. I think you started it when you said you had different strokes for different folks. And then immediately in my head, you know, now that the image is burned into my brain, the whole video, this guy popped into my head. Thank you very much.
I didn't know it was a video. I thought it was a photo.
Oh no, I had to watch a video. And then I couldn't stop. I'm like, oh yeah, it's a video. I mean, he's really going at it. He had a whole setup, man. He was ready. But you know, good for him, enjoying my fleshlight or somebody's fleshlight. I mean, I don't know, and some alone time, you know.
I just don't know why he didn't personal message you that. He just sent it to you on Twitter. It is on the thing, and it has my name tagged to it. I thought it was a question. You know what I mean? Like when he sent me the link, I thought it was a question. I didn't know it was a video that this guy is sitting there playing with. It's like, dude, I don't need that. I have some of those probably in my DMs right now of guys, and like I just don't click the blurry image.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I do. Depends on the mood, you know. I don't mind. Sometimes depends, you know. But you know, now they know the requirements for those types of photos, right? No, can't be flaccid. Like, okay, so those things need to be landscaped, all of those things. So pay attention, fellas.
Pay attention.
Yeah. So anyway, so I was on obviously, Twitter because it's fun. And sometimes I type so fast that I have some grammatical errors. Shame on me, but it happens. And I did ask some of our followers to submit some questions. So
let's
let's
get
go
this
through some
going.
questions. So we'll start off with, okay, couple for me, couple for you. Okay, so we'll start this one off for you, Julian. So this is from Carmetz, and he wants to know, what is the most difficult thing about being an MMA fighter?
Diet, and making weight. That's 100% the most difficult thing. Fighting is easy.
Okay.
Going to practice is easy. Listening to the media try to butcher things about you or doing all that stuff, it's easy to handle. The hardest thing about that is, giving up food, eating healthy, because you don't want to, like, even if you didn't have to cut a lot of weight, you don't want to eat just terrible food. So diet and making weight, that's the hardest part. Ask any fighter. It doesn't matter what weight class, they will say that is the hardest part.
Okay, so when you say diet though, so obviously you guys have nutritionists, dietitians, or whatever, your coaches or whatever. So do they probably specify a particular diet and it changes as the weeks go on, correct? Like, like certain things you omit, or like, when you do the bodybuilders, like they have like the carb depletion and all those things. But I'm wondering, because you're fighting, do you want to do those types of things? It's not necessarily how you look, but making weight and having enough energy to sustain yourself through the fight, right?
Well, when I say diet, so I have dietitians. So I utilize, out of camp, I utilize the UFC PI's dietitian. There's Clint, Alexa, and the Crushing Machine, Charles. They're the dietitians over there at the UFC Performance Institute, and they help me out and stay relatively low in weight, especially during my injury. But I used to cut weight, and when it comes down to time, I use Tyler Minton. He's an amazing dietitian. He works with DC, works with Max Holloway, works with a plethora of fighters. Everybody knows who he is if you're in the MMA world. But he gives everything. He makes me weigh all my food out to know how many grams of protein I have for each meal, how many grams of carbs, which way am I getting carbs? Am I getting my carbs from breads, grain, wheat, or am I getting my carbs from fruit or vegetables? Like, so everything's weighed out specifically like that. And it's always clean. You're not going to sit there and eat a pizza to get your fats and carbs, in your meat, your protein. So you utilize eating the same stuff over and over, because it's just, we're habits, we have a habit of trying to do the same thing over and over in consistency. So if you consistently have the same meals, it's just easier. You just know how to make it. It takes a lot easier time to meal prep. So he has everything like that. So I weigh every meal out at the beginning of the week, and I just go from there. And that's what's so tough about it, is because, after we get done with here on this podcast, I'll go downstairs and I'll cook my meals for an entire week. And then boom, the next week, the same thing all the way there. And then we cut weight during fight week. And that's whenever the fun starts.
Jeez. Brutal.
But it's that's the hardest part at all. But, having a team helps you out the most. Just like we talked about, when you go for it on your own, or you go for it and gamble on yourself, having a team is the best that can help you. Family members, friends, supporters, even fans. Fans are great to keep there. We got you. We know you want to. We love this. So that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
All right. I got a question for you now. I got a whole bunch of them on here, so hopefully I don't steal yours. Luckily Chuck, and we keep getting this question.
I know. Let's give him a name. Let's just call him. Gotta give him a name. I don't know what we should call him. We had a nickname. We would call him Cognac.
Let's call him Professor Xavier.
Okay, sounds good.
He looks perfect. So Professor Xavier. Everybody asks who you're married to, and it's Professor Xavier.
Professor Xavier. That's
so
it.
Professor Xavier always likes to send a bunch of really terrible things to us during these times, but men playing with themselves and random stuff. But he did send me a bunch of messages. So we got one right here. This is from Mari_Sky. She said, how do you feel about being such a good example of self-love? Love from Brazil, smiley face emoji.
Aw, thank you. Yeah, and love back to Brazil. Absolutely. Never been there, but I hear it's a beautiful place. So, bucket list. There's a lot of countries we need to get to. Okay, I know you've been probably to many more than I have. However, I don't know. Have you ever been to Brazil?
No, I've only been to one. I mean, I went on a cruise. It took me to 3 different countries, but I was on the tourist sites. I've never been. I need
Okay,
to.
got it. Okay, so I mean self-love. I don't know. I think we all have good and bad days. I think at the end of the day, though, it's just important to and I guess maybe it's easier for me to say this, because I'm so grateful I don't have any, terminal illnesses or anything like that. But, just to try to be grateful, take a moment and just be grateful for what you have, because, it's easy to take things for granted and we're all guilty of it. But so just help inspire and encourage and support other humans and just be kind to even to unkind people. I know that's not always easy, but yeah, just try to be a good human, and just be grateful for what you have. So I don't know, that's what I try to do. But again, we all have our days, but I have a lot, in my room, I have a lot of inspiring quotes and things. And so I wake up and I look at that and yeah, just kind of reminds me. So
I like it. I like it. I mean, you definitely have to, you have to love yourself to be able to move forward. If you sit there and keep looking at yourself in the mirror and judging yourself, you listen to that, and it also affects your mentality. So there's nothing that's ever going to change about you. You may diet down and lose weight. You may gain weight, whatever, but you have to love yourself because it is who you are. And
it is.
don't compare yourself to Instagram people because that's completely fake. And don't
Yeah.
compare yourself to the comments that people have. You ignore that. Just keep going, right?
Absolutely. And too, that I was reading this book, it's somewhere over here in this hodgepodge of stuff, but I was reading this book and it's about, I forgot the exact name. Anyway, it's one of my inspiring self-motivation type books. And in it says that, we have more conversation with ourselves throughout the day than we do anyone else. So to, listen, your self-talk is kind of what, your subconscious. So it's important to have, I'm not saying have conversations, out loud, but in your head, so try to be positive in those and block out the negativity and focus on positive.
Absolutely. Let's get another question in. Let's get a couple of these.
Okay. All right, my turn. You're not stealing this next one.
You got this one.
Okay, so this one. All right, so we're not going to do that one. Okay, so this is just a random. Oh, I can't do Carmetz again. Can't do him. He's got a couple good ones. Okay, we don't want that one.
He's excited.
Okay, this is for you from James Lynch.
Oh, James Lynch. Good reporter.
What? Yes. What is the most awkward celebrity encounter Julian has had at Topgolf?
Oh, man. I don't know, man. I've had so many different encounters with a bunch of just a bunch of people.
Yeah.
But I would have to say the most awkward encounter that I had was with and it's another reporter is Brett Okamoto.
Okay.
Brett Okamoto. I have other ones where I've met Mayweather, I met Dan Bilzerian, I met Peyton Manning, DC, all these different people. But Brett Okamoto and I had just this weird interaction. So I come up and I have a fake name at Topgolf, and it is Rocco, Rokko. And I tell everyone I'm Rocco. Hey, how you doing? My name is Rocco. I'll be your server today. And Brett comes up and he goes, "No, you're not." I was like, okay. And I didn't know him and he didn't know me. And this is right around the time he knew of me, but we never met. And we only exchanged stuff on Instagram, Twitter, and things like that. And it was right around the Diaz fight when Diaz was going to fight for the BMF, but they almost pulled out, all sorts of stuff. So he comes up to me. He's like, "No, you're not." And I was like, "Yeah, I am." He goes, "No, you look like a person I know." I was like, "Dude," I was like, "First off, you're creeping me out." Like legit looking at him like, "What are you talking about?" And I've never had this. And we kind of looked at each other with like, "Why do I know you?" type of face. And
Yeah.
everyone that he's with were kind of like looking at our tension and just was like, he goes, "I know who you are. You kind of look like someone I know." And I'm like, "Oh man, what did I do? Did I slide into the wrong DM? Was this somebody's ex? Like, I know this guy, but I don't." Like, and then he goes, "You look like Julian Marquez." And I was like, "What the fuck right now?" Like, I was like, "How do you know me?" And he started playing with me. He just was like, "Oh," he goes, "So you are Julian Marquez?" He's like, "You look like that." I was like, "Yeah, but who are you? Like, how do you know me?" Like, and I'm freaking out at this point in time. And then Brett ends up saying, "I work for ESPN, this, that, and the other. My name is Brett Okamoto." And I was just like, "Oh my God." That freaked me out. I didn't know him. He knew my first and last name. He was able to look at me and
Yeah.
know that my name wasn't Rocco. He knew
That's
my whole story, but that
crazy.
was the most awkward deal. And then he left. He left me with all his friends because he had to. The Nate Diaz fight was back on. He was saying that he wasn't going to do it. That was right. That was at the time when they said he had uh, that fake positive test for the steroid test or the fake
Okay.
positive. Nate was like,
Okay.
"No, forget you guys. You need to fix this." And
Wow.
Brett had to run at the middle of the night to go talk to Dana and be at the press release for the fight that happened again, this, that, and the other. But yeah, he left me with all of his friends, and his friends were like looking at me, and that was our interaction. It wasn't like, "Oh man, you're super awesome, I miss you." It was
That
just
was
like kind of
it.
like that. And then he was like, "I gotta go," and he rushed out. So like his friends are like, I'm cool with them, but they're kind of like looking at me like, what was this interaction about? So it was different.
Yeah, definitely awkward. That would kind of catch me, somebody kind of catches you off guard, you know?
Yeah, I'm not famous enough to be like people come up and notice me and notice who I am. Like I've had a couple people, coming to work or coming out, and it's like, but I just never like someone to give my first and last name. You know what I mean? Like, whoa, buddy.
You'd be
So
surprised, though. You'd be surprised. More people know you than you think, and I think sometimes people, I mean, you're a big dude, so can be a little intimidating. I mean, if you're having a bad day, people don't know how you're going to respond.
I'm a
So,
teddy. I'm a
big
teddy bear.
teddy bear. That's
We
awesome.
got this one right here. This is a question from Honey Centric, and I see her commenting a lot on your stuff, and she always says this, or she said this. I shouldn't say always. She said your workout gear is always cute and stylish. Have you ever thought about launching your own fitness line, Kendra?
Well, thank you, first of all. I, I looked into it, and there was like a couple of years ago, someone had expressed interest, a gentleman. However, I think he was trying to slide into my hotel room. So anyway, no, but yeah, so it didn't work out, but which is fine. But I think from what talking to people, like the profit margins aren't really huge, to be honest. And I have such a, most of my fan base is male. So for it to really make, money, and for me to really be passionate about it, has to be worth my time. So it's not something I want to do right now, but I
Yeah,
think,
it'd be tough. I mean, if we had a bunch of females, then it would be easy for you to like push out that. But I mean, you never know. Like you got a bunch of friends that probably wear your product.
yeah,
It's just a lot of headache trying to deal with all that.
yeah, a lot of work. I mean, right now I want to focus on this and some other stuff that we're doing. So yeah, but
This is hilarious. I have a question here. All right.
what?
I have a question here that ties into the beginning of the podcast. And this person's super smart. Whoever put this is
Carmet?
McKay, huh?
No, not Carmet's, is it?
No, it's yeah, it is Carmet's.
I
Yeah.
knew it. He's so savvy.
Oh, he is. And I thought this was great. He said, "What is your favorite soccer player and why?"
Yeah,
Boom, boom, boom. We
I
could
know.
skip that, but yeah, we just talked about that. What a smart way. Like this dude definitely can slide in a DM. He asked that question without pretty much suggesting,
Yeah,
the situation or what's happened with James Rodriguez. So
Yes,
Uh,
definitely. We know Rodriguez, and he's just, yeah, he's awesome. So
Here, I got one right here. This person, is it Shelly? SHAAIL 562555397 said, "Who gave the idea of Beauty Beast podcast and why? How did we start this?"
I think we were just, I know we were talking and we're like, okay, we're going to do this podcast. And we had been talking about it. And I'm like, well, what the hell are we going to call it? And we just kind of start bouncing off like ideas, and you came up with it. And I was like, I love that, you know? And then we talked about like how sometimes I can be the beast and you're the beauty, you know, because yeah, if you saw me this morning, yeah, I was definitely the beast. When I woke up this morning, I was like, and then the neighbor came by and he's like, oh, you know, and they were hanging out or whatever. And I was just like, yeah, it was a rough night. Like, you know, rough day here today. I'm just kind of, and I literally had a hot Cheeto. He's like, you're eating hot Cheetos. I'm like, I love hot Cheetos. They're so good. So there was zero guilt in me eating those hot Cheetos. I don't do it all the time, but I nailed like a good portion of that back this morning.
Champ, true champ right there. I love it. Let's see. I'm gonna ask one more question for you, and then I got a couple topics I don't want to go.
Yeah.
This is actually pretty funny. It kind of goes into there. And Eddie, I don't know his Instagram handle, said, "How tough of an actress do you have to be an adult film?
Wow.
How tough is acting?" Because it kind of leads me to like, have you ever faked an orgasm? Like, especially with like some, not just in the porn industry, but like, have you ever faked one just like while you're dating someone or just hooking up with someone just to stop it?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I have in the past. Luckily, I have faked in the past, and that is doesn't. And I'll tell you right now, if it's like somebody that you want to be with, then it does neither of you any good or justice, because he thinks he's doing something right. You know, you're not fulfilled. It's just a no-win for anybody. So don't do it. So if you want to be with the person, the guy, educate him. Just like tell him what you like. Or, you know, oohs and ahs, you know, like when he's doing something right, you know, be a little bit more verbal, you know, so, and just talk about it. But like, or, you know, sometimes, you know, when you're young, and it does nobody a favor, and it's just like, it's terrible. Just so don't do it. So yes, I have. Luckily now, you know, Professor Xavier is amazing. So I do not have to at all, you know.
He told me you fake a lot of them.
Oh, stop.
He said you get tired and you want to go to bed.
Yeah, right. He's full of shit. No. That's not. But as far as like on film, it is so different. Yeah, it's a lot different. Like the whole acting portion for me, it's a lot easier just to just have sex. Like I can completely be comfortable with that setting, you know, but like the actual acting, the dialogue, that was more difficult for me because I don't like doing, like, I don't know. It's hard for me.
I heard you need your pipes cleaned, babe.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
yeah, come help me out.
I know. I need a pool boy. Like, you know, like, you know, like, you know, here, I always clean like this, you know,
Oh, yeah.
come on. Like, yeah, no, you know, I mean,
You had to play the mom roles as well. So that's like the dirty stepmom.
I know, right? Or like, oh, Billy's away at school and you're his friend, and you know, Professor Xavier's on a work trip. You know, it's like, I don't know, it's cheesy, but it's like, but it's fantasy, so I get
But
it.
it's fantasy.
But yeah,
It's hard. So it's hard to read the lines than actually just doing. I mean, obviously, it's not hard to have sex, but
yeah.
the thing is, like, when you have to read the lines and all that, like, do they make you? They kind of like tell you, like, hey, this is how we're gonna go about this. So where you need to get up on the chair and you're gonna spend 10 minutes doing this, and then 12 minutes doing it. Like, they break it down like that.
Yeah, like sometimes it's very scripted, and then other times it's just straight, like little talk and straight to the action. Just depends on like the type of script or the type of director or the company you're working for. But oh yeah, we are told when in some instances to orgasm. Absolutely. You know, okay, so like, okay, or like the guy, this signifies it's time to shh. So, you know, or they'll do this, like, so the guy knows, like, okay, you've got X amount of time to like, for the shot, for the money shot.
Oh,
So
really? So how does that work right there? Because if they're making you or making him, like, does he have the ability just to go whenever? Is like that's what makes him so great?
job. That's his job. So, yeah, so like he has like, ideally, you know, when they do their sign, you know, because we're working, but we're also have our peripheral, like, so it's, you know, there's a lot going on. Or sometimes they'll give you a heads up, like, okay, you know, 3 minutes in this position and then 5 in this. But, you know, when you're going hardcore in August in the heat, you know, 3 minutes might feel like 3 hours for this guy. You know, he's sweating, it's hot, you know, so, but yeah, when they give the sign, like, ideally he has, you know, within a minute or so, a couple of minutes to kind of get to where he needs to be. So not easy for the gentleman at all.
That's wild.
You're like
I didn't know like that. I didn't know that much about it, but I can only imagine, like, when you watch it, you're like, okay, they're obviously scripted. They have to do certain things, and is that what makes it like you more of a dominant porn star, to where they want to use you more, they want to put you in films, and just because you're acting and your ability to do these things are.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if a guy can't, you know, perform, or if the director says, okay, it's time, and he is not, you know, it's taking him forever, you know, the director's getting annoyed, you know, and you know, or if he needs to stop and like go to another room to handle it, to get to where he's, you know, close to, and then come back, you know, so it's not easy for them, because, you know, it's just not easy. I mean, and a lot of it comes with experience, you know, like the guys who are more experienced, I don't know. I guess, and just some guys just can on demand. They have it, you know. But you know, a lot of the newer people, you know, they're having sex the morning of, before work, or the night before. Where most of the seasoned vets are like, you know, they may not do it the night before, and kind of, you know, because you become desensitized. You know, a lot of the guys do. So, yeah. So,
Man, that's tough. Like I don't know if I could play in that ballpark.
yeah, and then to maintain, you know, your edge, right, and staying ready the whole time. I mean, you have, you know, light, sound, makeup.
I don't mind people if they watch. Like I'm not. I've been in situations where, you know, there's multiple people around, and I'm not.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit for us?
We'll talk about that on another one. But yeah, I've been there, and it's fun for sure. But I don't mind if someone's there. Like I can walk around. I can walk up the street in my boxers, or walk outside butt naked. I don't care. I'm not. Right. I'm comfortable with myself and comfortable with what I'm doing. But yeah, but to sit there and be like, hey, snap it up. Like, you know how mad I get at work or in anything, like, hey, we got this deadline, we got to do this. And you're just sitting there like trying to type something or put stuff together. Just, yeah. I don't like people telling me what to do. And that's why I don't do well in that type of environment.
Yeah, I get it. It's hard for me to even have a trainer. Like, I start back up with him Tuesday, dreading the shit, not gonna lie. Like, it's like a love-hate, because he makes me do things I don't want to do. I'm like, I'm not doing those ropes. Like, you know, I cannot stay. I'm just like, you know, like, I just feel like it's just like, you're just like, I don't like it. Just, it drives me nuts. I'm like, what is this really doing? Like, am I even doing it right? And, you know, I mean, I need a little bit of like direction, like encouragement during it. Like, okay, there you go. So I'm going to tell him, you need to really up the pep talks, because for me, I get real unmotivated, especially with this freaking rope. So now
about this consistency. It's
I
not
know.
always going to be the same. You're going to be inconsistent one day, consistent. It's just staying on it regardless. That's your motivation right there, girl.
Looking at the nosiest neighbors walking by, nosiest neighbors ever. I get along with them, but geez, they're always like just nosy.
They
Anyway,
know what's going on.
yeah.
Yeah, that's just it's wild. Um, yeah, the type of lifestyle. She's just faking orgasms, learning how
But
to act through that. Have you ever thought about doing a movie, but like
like,
not a sexual movie, but just a movie? Would that
yeah,
be any difficult?
yeah. I think I would need some coaching, absolutely. Because there is the director and producer for it's called the Birthday Cake movie. They want to cast me in something in the fall. I don't know where obviously production and all that kind of stuff is at right now, but they've already given me the role. But again, I don't like to talk about it until it really happens. And this movie is called The American Dream. And I told them, and I said, you do realize I have little acting experience, like real acting experience. And they said, you seem pretty comfortable, whatever.
You seem pretty comfortable. Obviously, I think
I mean,
somebody's been watching your career.
I don't know about that, but I don't know, but just in some of the dialogue and stuff. So it will definitely be out of my comfort zone, but we'll see how things go. And if what is it? You can't score if you don't shoot. So I don't have anything to lose. So I think it would be fun.
Absolutely.
Give it a
I
try.
that's I like it. I mean, if you get into it, that would be awesome to do movies. I mean, plus you'll have so much fun doing all that.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I'm not gonna play I'm not taking this if it's going to be like some bimbo or like strip. Like I'm not doing that. It's not gonna happen. Like I've had offers for that stuff in the past, and it's not something I want to do because I'm already in like a sexual nature, obviously, with what I do, and sometimes I want to do something different. It's not always, you don't always have to be sexy or it's like there's a time and a place, and yeah.
yeah, it's just it kind of like you could do this on your own. Why are you going to go make someone else money for their movie and blow their movie up by doing the roles that you have done over and over? You want something different. You want a new challenge. You're at that point in your career where you can become an actress inside of a PG-13 movie,
Yeah, or
or
whatever.
whichever one you like.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever. I mean, I can't see myself on the cast of Disney or anything like that, but
That would be hilarious. That
right.
would be hilarious. It'd be like Hannah Montana, but the reverse. Not like saying that. It's like Hannah Montana was this amazing little girl, and then all of a sudden she just went wild when she went Miley Cyrus. Could you imagine her going back with all the stuff that everyone knows about, all the kids? And then
Yeah.
you imagine all the kids, they would look you up. They would Google their favorite Disney character mom, and they see Google images showing what it shows on you. Yeah,
Oh,
that'd be hilarious. That
whew.
wouldn't be, yeah, it would be funny. You could do
Yeah.
it. You could do it. So before we exit this stuff, because it's getting time, let's give our fans what they love the most. I think I love talking about this. Our favorite, the DM slides.
Oh,
We've been practicing. We have great stories. And last week we talked about stop and like how you should slide when sending pictures, but how should you initiate the conversation in a DM slide? What is it that someone should do going from a girl to a guy or a girl to a celebrity or a celebrity to a celebrity, a male to female, female to male? What is your reach on that?
okay. So I get a lot of athletes in my DMs, quite a few. Um,
That's
and
funny because I have been trying to hit on all your friends, by the way, people that you follow. I've been sliding in there like I said I would with some success.
good. That's exciting, right? Now, well, tell me about yours. No, no, no. Now I need to know.
So
So tell me. You tell me.
my thing is that I would go into like I went into let me pull up my phone. Let me pull this up. For one, I went into Kinsey Reeves. Did you
Aw,
ever do work with Kinsey
I
Reeves?
never have. She would be my blonde stepdaughter, though. Such
She
a cutie.
she would. She does a lot of the stepdaughter, the stepsister videos and things like that. But can you tell my genre? Jesus. So
Nope.
I slid into her DM, and I just use a fun approach to make it like to get her interest, because
Yeah.
I you have to be funny, like you said, you have to be a little bit witty, but you couldn't sit there and be like, "Hey, what's up?" or "Hey, you want to fuck?" or "Hey, babe, I've been thinking
Wait.
about you." Like what? So I slid in with like a really like classy line. I'm not gonna say it on here because a lot of people will be using it, and it's
Use
my
it.
line. Huh?
Your line, huh?
Oh yeah, it's my line. I use it on a lot of people just to get the interest in there. And pretty much I make them feel like they did something. I make them like, oh, what happened? And they feel that sense and they want to respond because like, oh, what happened? Like, and they respond back to you. And then I just give it that funny, like little twist to it where they didn't do anything wrong, but it makes them laugh. So I keep the
Okay.
comedy going and they go from there. And then that's when I can start off with like, asking some questions, getting there and sparking their interest. But, I'm never, and it worked with her. Like she has over 500,000 plus
Aw.
followers. So like when you slide into it, like she gets the same responses from everyone. And then she responded back. And that was hilarious. But I've gone into a lot of them and that they haven't responded back or they're cut dry and cut short.
Hmm. Well, at least sounds like she has some personality, so that's a good sign.
She does. She absolutely does. But that's my tactic. I have a few other ways and approaches that I do, and especially if I walk up to a girl on the street and I get her number, we exchange Instagram. Like I'm able to initiate the conversation and be able to just slide just by being like real cool. Like I'm never. How do you say? I never like put them in the situation where they feel uncomfortable. Like
Like creepy, over the top, aggressive.
yeah, like okay. So I wrote down some like terrible like things that I've seen my friends do,
Oh God.
and I'll play it out for you guys. Like here's a deal for like a guy sending to a girl. I wrote this down. It says he's asked her is like any plans Friday. She didn't respond. His next one is, look, if you don't want to make plans with me, I'll find someone else to go hang out with. It's just no response. And then the guy's like, I'm serious. Just simple yes or no is not too much to ask for, is it? She still didn't respond. And then he put another one. He's like, forget it. I think I'll see what my ex is up to next weekend. The girl responded was, what the fuck? I was working. Like,
Like
it's
that's too aggressive. Like I don't like that. Tacky. No, don't do that, guys. No, bad.
it
Give her a
is
chance
terrible.
to respond. You don't just keep going on and on and on. Give it a time. Patience. He's impulsive. I don't like it.
It's super needy. It was just, it sounded terrible. And I'm like, dude, like people have lives. And I told him that I was like, people have lives. He's like, I know, but like, I was like, you got to figure out something to do with your time and not just make her like, she's the greatest thing in the world. Cause when
Yeah.
you're sitting there looking at your phone, trying to see if they're going to text back, like that's the dumbest thing in the world.
No, that's so frustrating. Sorry, my blinds. I gotta open these a little bit to get a little bit more light in here. There we go. It's getting darker.
But, so let me pull up one of the messages that I have. Like this is how I like slide or how I talk to these girls, and it's simple. Here, I'll read this from my text, and it's how I started. I said, "What's up?" Her name is like, "I'm going skydiving with some friends this week and want to join." And she said, "Seriously?" I was like, "Yeah, I do." Or as I do it like 6 times a day. It's either that or you can help me organize my bug collection. And she goes, okay, now I know you're joking. And I was like, what gave it away? Okay, seriously, let's meet up. Coffee, Starbucks, and promise me you'll leave the bugs at home. She's like, sounds good, bug boy.
See, that
Easy.
was easy. Just like chill, like no pressure, public place, like, which is good because we like the public places, right? So
Yeah.
like if he's creepy or I need to get out of the situation, I'm good to be able to do that. Perfect.
Yeah, but
Perfect.
it's a joke, you know, you gotta keep it light, keep it easy, keep it friendly.
Yes.
Because I think everybody's just always attacking like I said, hey, you want to fuck? Hey, you should hang out with me. Like, well, give them a reason why. How do
I
you
know.
slide? Let me
I
hear
know.
your slides or how they slide into you.
Okay.
That
So
sounds
this is how
pause.
you don't.
Pause on that one.
Okay. You look good. Your curves drive me crazy. Well, thank you. I'm grateful, but like come up with something better than that. Or I get all the like the little watermarks. You know what that is, right? So
Oh,
everybody does, right? The little, okay. Let me see. Okay, I don't know what this one is.
I want to.
Um,
Yeah, it's
video. And then my thing is still loading, which is annoying, but or just like, hey, how are ya, you know, like just something just like lame, like nothing exciting, like for like guys, you know, give me a little something, like get my attention somehow, like I said, make me laugh, or you know, just be genuine in your message, you know, whether it's complimenting me or you know trying to take me out, whatever. So I like be a little witty.
complimenting you in a different way than saying like your curves are.
Yeah, or yeah, hey, how much to fuck one night? How much? Like, you know, and it's like that's so frustrating. So it's so yeah, so there's a lot of those. So I would say this, and I'll say it before, like humor is for me is the best. So come at me with something fun, a little bit like of knowledge about me, not just like what I do. Like, you know, it means that you're paying attention other than just like my videos, you know. You're on my Instagram or you've listened to our podcast. Okay, I like that. You know, as far as that goes. Now, as far as the ladies go, when they slide in,
When the
uh,
ladies slide in. Yeah,
yeah,
I try to keep it funny and I try to keep it cocky. Like, you know, my friends always would say like, you got to be the prize. You can't always like drool over someone, put someone on the pedestal whenever you're talking to them or whenever you're
yeah,
messaging them, like putting them like they're important. Like you have to be the important one and make them want to come towards you by being awesome, by playing games, by teasing, by joking, by keeping it interesting, random things like that.
yeah. Like this guy, he's a basketball player, and he put, "Oh, you used to hoop?" Question mark. And it's like, well, if you see some, you know, something, obviously I did a little bit, right? So, and just because you have a blue check mark doesn't mean I'm going to respond to you. Like, you know, I don't know. Like, I'll be friendly, but just because you have a blue check mark doesn't mean I'm going to respond. Like, but I mean, I'm sure he's nice, whatever. But again, you, oh, or mommy. I get a lot of those. Will you be my mommy?
That is weird. That is
Yeah.
very weird.
Um,
Um,
yeah. So I get a lot of,
that I
yeah.
don't know if I could do that. Um, I don't know if I could do that at all.
Yeah.
Uh,
You know, hey, whatever. Like you said, different strokes for different folks, right? But and no judgments. Like it's all, like I said, it's all fantasy. It's totally good. I'm all about supporting being sex positive. And but no, I'm not gonna be your mommy. I can't do it. Like, you know, it's mom life is not easy,
that
especially with
that's
kids.
weird. I just don't. We got to come up with a list for next week. I'll come up with a list of like slides and let's see if people will give us screenshots if they work. Like come up with something like an intro for people to try and holler at their friends or holler at girls that they've tried to. But the thing is that we can give them an intro and get the response. But the thing is that they won't be able to say, like sustain that conversation and keep that going because it's not their words. It's not who they are.
Yes, right? Yeah, no. Um, this gentleman. Yeah, it's It's just some of them. Can I take you out? What's your Snapchat? Lot of pictures coming through. Lot of pictures. Yeah. But as far as the girls, are you a porn star? I got one of them.
Are you though?
Um, I was just like, what? And then I feel like when you delete them, they just come, hello, just a hello.
Yeah, no, that's the dude. I delete a lot of people that respond, or like I respond to, and then they start turning weird. Because that's what happens. Like someone will spark your interest in the DM, and then like, you'll respond to them just like, "Oh, that's pretty funny," or you have a conversation, and then like you talk a little bit, and then you stop, and then next thing you know, they just constantly
Yeah,
they start being really weird.
that's the thing. You like, I'll occasionally, like I said, if somebody kind of puts like a nice message or whatever, not being weird and just like, just cool about it, I'll say something back. And then it's like, it keeps going on and on. And who has the time to keep, and I'm grateful, and I don't mean to sound bitchy, but it's just hard because, we're not going to keep going on as far as conversation. It's just, I can't do that. Like, it's just, we can't. So, yeah. And then they get mad at you. That's the worst. You say something nice back and then you're not responding and then they get mad. And it's like, God, you had to take it there. So that's a little frustrating. So sometimes it's like better off not to, because you don't know like what they're going to do. But then sometimes they really appreciate it. And then you have like a fan for life. So, it can go either way.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's like, and that's another thing is like, those are all tests too.
Yes.
Most people don't really get it. They're tests. Like a girl or a guy would do the same thing where they won't respond for a couple days to your message to kind of see like how you will react, and
Yeah.
how you react is how you're gonna sit there and judge it. Just like the guy that I was talking about where he was just constantly messenger. She's like, yo, WTF? I'm at work. Like she wasn't working. She's not working. It was the closest thing she could do for a response, and she could pick up the phone, but she was probably busy for 10 minutes, and he sent those text messages within 10 minutes apart from each other, or 30 minutes apart, within an hour at least.
Yeah, no, that's a no, guys. Definitely don't do that. Do not. I mean, well, sometimes like maybe like one or two, but then like let it rest. Don't just keep going on and on and on, because you look desperate, needy, aggressive, and unattractive. So don't do it.
Absolutely. And sometimes I ended up sliding into these DMs and then become like friends with them. Like I don't even try to get anything at all. I'm just like, yo, like you're pretty dope.
Yeah.
There's a girl, I'm gonna share her tomorrow. There's this girl, she's a fitness girl, and like I slid in, and she's like super cool. She's doing I don't know, the bodybuilding or the physique competition. She's gonna sit there, and you can see she's posting all of her fitness stuff where she's working out, she's doing this, doing that. She's beautiful. She's from Vegas. Um, and she's just like a really dope person. She's cool. Like you can message her, and she's one of those people that you just keep alongside because they're just cool. And it's okay to have friends that are chicks or women, because some women are super dope.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yeah. Well.
And but yeah, I'm gonna share her she's trying to go for like a Muscle and Fitness magazine to be on the cover. So she needs some help. So I'm gonna share her stuff tomorrow. And it's like,
Awesome.
from her being dope like that and being such a cool person, that's what it like got me to do. It's like, hey, she asked me if she can help me by just giving one vote. So I was like, yo, I'll give you more than just one vote. Like I'll blast it out for you. Huh?
I love that. I love that though. That is awesome. I think it is important to like, network and be friendly. And people don't understand like just being a kind person. It pays off, not just monetarily. I don't mean it like that or business wise, but just because I feel like why not? Like it's much easier to be nice than to be a jerk.
Absolutely. And that's the best part. Like she never said anything like no, like I don't want to hang out, or no, I don't want to date, or no, I don't. It was nothing of that. It just how the conversation I felt going through the text and how we were talking, you turned out way cooler than just trying to be someone like to talk to or try to get closer with. Like it's better to have it as friends. And I have now a dope friend that backs me up and supports me during my weight cuts, and I do the same for her, and vice
Yeah.
versa.
Yeah, because they both, the same kind of situation for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but look, it's 8 o'clock, and right now, Batman Returns is about to be on TV.
Woo.
And if you don't really realize by how nerdy the whole background is with all my
Yes.
different little toys that I got there, Terminator, we got Freddy Krueger up there, Predator, Harry Potter. Like, so basically, I'm a kid, and I got to go watch Batman Returns. I'm gonna have a good old time and cook my meals for this week. So
Nice. Awesome. I might eat a little bit of leftovers last night. My whatever. The turkey meat's pretty, like I said, it's pretty good. So I might, because it's too late to cook. I didn't do anything. It's lazy Sunday. So this was the highlight of my day. So yeah, I guess that's a wrap for us tonight. Thank you guys for checking us out. And if you like what you heard, subscribe and like and I cannot freaking say it. Like and subscribe. We haven't been doing that, and we need to do that. So
and share this.
Yeah, share.
If you share this video, if you share our podcast, adding the link or telling them to come to our stuff, share that. We'll share and tag us. We'll share your post so that way you can get on all of our social media platforms, and there's your shout out. We'll give you love.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, all right, everyone. Have an awesome night. Until next time.